How are we all? This isn't War Thunder. No, it's not. We're doing something a little different and a lot retro. Close Combat. One of the first war games I ever owned back in 99, 2000. I think I acquired Close Combat 3, the Russian Front. Been a massive fan of the series. I've got all the originals and some of them still on, like, obviously CD-ROM drive. But recently, over the last X amount of years, Matrix Games have remastered the different versions 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So today I'm going to show you, or we're going to start a campaign on Close Combat Cross of Iron, which is the remastered version of Close Combat 3, the Russian Front. So, bit of a heads up, this is a old style game. It's top down 2D, pretty retro, but I had hours and hours of fun playing this. Some of you may never even have heard of it, in which case hopefully this video just gives you a brief insight into the series. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully, like I say, it'll showcase the game. What we're going to do is start a campaign and play the first mission. So here we are, main screen. This is the this is the default, so you can't get it to go any bigger than this. If you do, it just either crashes or it just looks awful. So we're stuck with this. And this is the home screen. So you have a list, a drop down. So you have historical battles that you can fight, operations, which are multiple battles together, or the campaign, which is multiple operations together. And we're going to do the Grand Campaign, this one at the top, as the Germans. So, we've got it on, not on hero difficulty, because it kind of punishes your requisition to a unholy level. But realism, we have it on 100%, so that's good. 20-minute timer expires on the battlefield, or after taking all victory locations. If you take all victory locations, there's a 2-minute warning. If you still hold them after 2 minutes, you win. And let's move on to the first screen. So here we are. Again, this is a very, very dated game. With a lot of graphics, but I just think it's such a cool game. So to pick your force, you have requisition points down here at the bottom. This is your current active roster, and this is where you get your reinforcements from. And you have 3 levels: conscripts, regular, and elite. And then you have those options within command, infantry, armour, and support. If I just go on to details here, so on your morale and experience, the higher the number of blocks, the better morale or experience they have. So anything kind of from, if I just click on this infantry gun, anything kind of 3 and above is okay. You know, they've got a decent morale, they're not going to run away at the first shot. And they've got, you know, they're quite an experienced crew, this lot. If we, however, go to infantry conscripts and have a look at the airstrap, yeah, those, morale, nothing, likely to run, experience, no training. These guys are atrocious. They're only 6.2, so you could quite conceivably fill up for not a lot of points. However, we don't want to do that. What we want is a nice balanced force. So it is important in this game. You can't just, well, you can, but it often doesn't work. You can't just steamroll through with a bunch of tanks, because infantry that are dug into buildings or ambushing anti-tank guns will mince armour in this. So you've got to have a nice kind of balanced force. So what I tend to try and do, particularly in these early missions where the enemy's got negligible armour anyway, is I tend not to actually go for any armour to start with, or maybe get an assault gun or something for taking out infantry in buildings, and that kind of double up as like a makeshift tank destroyer if needed. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stick a rifle squad in there. We're going to have a machine gun team. Get little sound effects. It's pretty cool. Going to stick a machine gun in team, so that's a light machine gun. You can also get the heavier machine gun, but we're just going to stick with the light one because it's a little bit more manoeuvrable if you need to reposition it. Mortars are extremely handy in this. They're obviously well, what they say on the tin, but they're good for pinning down. They have a decent amount of ammo. So armour. So I can't actually get an assault gun. So what we might do is we might just go for the Panzer IV, because that's the howitzer. So it can take on probably any armour that we're coming up against, but it'll also double up for anti-infantry roll. So here we are, and I know a few of you are probably thinking, oh my good God, what is this? And I've just realised though, the actual screen has gone bigger. I thought it stayed as that small square, but it's actually gone bigger without any, what appears to be any undue side effects. So what I'm just going to do, if you bear with me very quickly, is just trim me down in the corner there, just so you can see a bit more of the battlefield. So what I'll do is I'll just group everything up here, and then we'll just have a little chin wag about what's what. So I've got me mortar team, light machine gun team, my tank, my light infantry, and my platoon leader, which is a couple of guys here. So if I press space, this brings up the command radius. So this means that anyone within this circle here around my platoon leader will get a morale bonus, and they will use the platoon leader's morale, which you can see he's in pretty good spirits now. He's laughing. So this machine gun team, because it's in there, you can see how they've gained one custom. Sorry, they don't use the platoon leader's morale. It gets increased. So on the MG team there, you can see that their morale has got an extra block on the purple side, because they're within that circle of the platoon leader. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the mortar back here. We're going to position our tank on the road, and our infantry is going to be just... So one of the things with this is that it's kind of, you've got to kind of imagine the cover, so you can see the elevation here, hills, there's a full line of sight in place. If you right click on something, just on the bottom left, you'll see it says shell hole, elevation and cover, or type, elevation and cover. So anywhere you click, it gives you a breakdown of how high it is, whether the cover's good, great, none, poor. And to move and give orders, it's a right click job. So you right click and you have these options. So you've got move, move fast, sneak, fire, smoke, defend and ambush. Move, standard default movement order that you should use all the time really. Won't go at top speed, but it'll move and it will take shots as and when it sees the enemy. Move fast, it tries to get to wherever you're telling it to go, direct, and doesn't stop to fire. Sneak, very good for infantry, extra cautious, they'll crawl, keep a low profile, and they'll default into the ambush position when they get to the destination. Smoke, exactly what it says on the tin. Drops some smoke, blocks line of sight. And then these two options at the bottom. Defend means that the unit will hold position, but fire upon anything that it sees within its effective weapon range. Ambush means the unit will only attack if something gets within 30 metres. So that's really good if they're holed up in a building and you get an opposition squad or a tank coming by. They won't fire till they're within 30 metres, which is usually like lethal range for every small arms and anti-tank kind of grenades and stuff. So that's where we're at. Objectives wise, we currently control Pavlov's house, not the Pavlov's house, obviously that's features in the middle of Stalingrad. But you'll see over this side of the map we have a few objectives: the Ford, Hill 115, the road out, bridge, Hill 101. So ideally we want to aim to take all the objectives, but at this early stage in the game when we've got a limited amount of troops, we're more focused on getting the enemy to run away. If we kill enough of the enemy, they're going to break. The enemy will probably offer a truce first. If we maybe kill another 1 or 2 units after that, then they flee. This early stage we're likely to be up against low quality border guards, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do now is I am just going to pop these guys into their respective orders, and away we go. So there it is. Obviously, fog of war is here. We only see something when we can see it, and there's no marker on the map, or there is a marker, but it disappears after a while. So you have to try and remember where you've seen things. So what I'm going to do to start with is we're just going to get the infantry sneaking up just to the side of this road. I'm going to aim to try and get in this. I'm going to aim to try and get in this building here first. There's a good chance that these guys will probably take a few losses, because there's every chance that they're going to be holed up in buildings, or quite often the AI likes to use these crops as ambush points. So we'll just have to see how that goes. When you've got a unit selected, over on the right here, you can see who's in the unit, whether they're healthy, scared, panicked, broken, dead, incapacitated, what they're armed with, and who they are, plus the feature of rank as well, emblems of rank as well. And that applies to all units, even the tanks. So you've got your leader, driver, gunner, loader, assistant. Again, this along the top for the armour gives you the status of the tank, so the main gun, if it's operational, mobile. So if the main gun gets knocked out, that'll go red. If it's damaged, orange. Operational, if it's generally in good health. And mobile, if the tracks are off, that will go red. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're just going to keep these guys coming down here. You can set waypoints, he says, with shift, so you can plot a little path out. The waypoints are quite good actually for moving fast. So if you're wanting to dash between buildings or something, but you want to maybe take a slightly different route to ensure you're keeping cover for as long as possible, the waypoints are quite handy for that. As you're probably already picking up, this is not a fast-paced game. This is very much a chilled out kind of, I just want a nice calm half an hour to fight a battle, but without too much stress. Brilliant for just kicking back and having a mission every now and again. I've currently been playing the Normandy game. The Longest Day was the remastered one, and that has some great battles in it. But again, it's not high octane stuff, this, guys. So if it's not your bag, then I fully get it. But I just thought it'd be nice to showcase a little bit of nostalgia for me, really. Something that's, like I say, it's been a game I've played for 25 years or thereabouts. Which obviously making me sound quite old now as well. But there you go. So anyway, one thing you can do especially with the mortar, is because it's indirect, you can... Oh, we've got contact. There we go. I'll come back to the mortar in a minute. So the mortar's going to open fire. Obviously, it's not 100% accurate, as you would expect. But we can start lobbing some shells up. I'm not sure whether the tank has got line of sight. So there we go. So he's reloading with HE. The AI automatically picks picks the appropriate shell type. You can't manually do that. Sometimes it's questionable. I mean, it is an old game. They did fix some of the AI issues with the remastered version, I must say, but yeah, there's still some questionable decisions from time to time. But mortars are good because they'll get the guys pinned down. They'll make them, if their guys are moving fast or moving, if a mortar shell lands in close proximity, they will crawl. They will go to ground and crawl. Infantry are relatively hard to kill at long ranges, which is why armour like HE shells and mortars and the like are quite effective. If I had shots with these guys, they could probably spend the rest of the 15.5 minutes and maybe kill one of them. So it is quite realistic on the small arms front. Obviously closer ranges, like, you know, if somebody was in this building now, they would mince me. So I find it quite realistic on a few fronts. But you get little notifications here. So the Panzer IV's lost target, which means the troops he could see through the gaps yeah. So sometimes a unit will be firing at another unit, and all of a sudden it'll say strategic fire lost, like it's just done now, which means they've momentarily lost track of a target. The enemy's either stayed in one spot long enough that they've gone hidden, or they have gone out of line of sight, say behind a tree or something. But I'll just get them to ambush now. You do have a limited amount of ammo, so you can see with the mortar now they've got 42 rounds left, and I've got 46 HE rounds, so I'm not too bad for ammo. Mortar rounds you do get through quickly if you kind of forget about it, because one of the things I was going to say before we spotted them, you can plop a mortar shell down anywhere. If the line stays solid orange, it means, like the brighter orange, it means that the mortar crew itself have got line of sight, and they'll be a lot more accurate. If you move it behind a building, it becomes a darker orange or light brown, whatever you want to call it. It can still fire, but it'll be a lot more inaccurate. But it is a useful thing, and you can set units without like artillery type weapons to fire at ground. So if you think there's somebody in that house, for example, there, I could click fire there. The unit will fire. Obviously it gives its position away, but there's a chance of suppressing and occasionally killing somebody in there. But we'll try and just keep the pressure on with the tank. I'll just keep my mortar back for now. So they've been gone to ground for a while. They're actually hidden now. I can't see them, and as you can see, there's no indication on the map as to where they were. Quite often in these games, you'll maybe have to fight the same map a couple of times before you win it. So the operations are done in days, and each operation has a certain number of days. It's usually 2 or 3 more days than their actual number of maps. So for example, in this first operation, I've got 3 maps to fight through to win this first operation, and I think I might have 5 days to do it. So if I don't win this outright, but we draw, then it'll go to day 2, but we'll still be on this map, and we'll still have the other 2 maps to get through. So there is a bit of a time limit on it. You can't just stay on the same map over and over again until you do win. You have got to be kind of quite aggressive. But then on other occasions you'll be defending. So at the moment, obviously, it's the start of Barbarossa where we're attacking. But there will, as we go through the campaign, there will be some defending to be done as well, and that's exactly the same principle, except we've got to hold the Russians from pushing us back 3 or 4 maps, whatever it is. So I've set the mortar going here again, just because there's a couple of units in that vicinity now. I'm going to see if the Panzer IV can maybe start picking up a few more kills. We've got a couple of kills. Yeah, you can see in the bottom left there the state of the, when you've had something in view for long enough, or you've got a certain unit that can see it, you'll get a bit more detailed information on the enemy squad, but that's not applicable all the time. So they've seen my infantry, so I'm going to put my infantry on defend, and you'll see that they're going to start opening up back because they're on given defensive order. There's a unit within range of their weaponry and they can see them, so they're going to start firing. But again, at those kind of ranges, what are we talking? 170 metres with bolt action rifle, you know, there's not going to be much damage. The tank is going to be doing most of the heavy work here, the infantry support tank. So I'll just ambush me mortar again. I've got 28 rounds left, which is still fine. And I'm just going to move this up to see if we can still keep getting a better angle on them, or better line of sight. Sorry. So you'll see these guys are taking up positions in trenches, which shows there in that bottom left cover. Great. So again, 170 metres shooting against, well, with a rifle against a dude in a trench isn't going to work. Whereas the Panzer IV-D with its HE rounds is exactly what this is designed to do, is blast away at strong points. And oh, you'll see our MG. Oh, I thought the MG was firing. It's not. It's the machine guns on the tank are targeting the infantry here. But again, they're in a bit of cover, so they might be. They'll probably need the main gun to dislodge them. The machine gun's just going to get them to keep their heads down. And because we know that there was a guy next to him, we might just do this. And then... So that's broken their squad. They only had a token force in that game. As was the case at the start of Barbarossa. There were like border guards, a couple of units. So we didn't even... I don't think we even got an offer of ceasefire, like a truce. They just broke and ran. So you'll see here... That means we've conquered the whole map, and if I go to briefing, this will be the next map up. So if we just go to next, oh, there's a nice little table here. It gives you losses and what you've killed and everything. So if we go to the next step, you see we've got more requisition points. We've still kept our core units, and we can then add to that. But if I just show you the briefing again, you'll see that we've moved on to the middle map now. So we are on day 2 of 5. So day 1 was 4 on this map. So basically I've got 4 days to win this map. And what will happen is that'll be the operation complete. If I don't, it'll be a victory to the Russians, probably a decisive victory, for they're not expected to hold off on this initial kind of operation. And you get a nice little bit of fluff with each map as well, just to tell you know we're attached to the 24th Motorised Division. Gives you a few hints on what you might be terrain you're likely to fight on. But yeah, so this is Close Combat, an old yet brilliant game in my opinion. I know I'm obviously biased. This is a game that you can pick up on Steam. It's expensive for what it is. Wait till there's a sale. But if the kind of the squad based tactics and a slightly old school hand drawn feel is your bag, then you'll love this. So many options. You can make custom battles, custom operations, even do a custom campaign. You can set it all up for what tanks you want, what infantry. You know, there is a lot of options with it, but I must admit, I found playing through the campaigns was the best part of this game. Especially when you had like a bad game and you lost, and you got pushed off a map and you lost the whole operation, and then you had to claw some victory points back from the next one. It's yeah. So I just thought we'd showcase that briefly. What I will do is I will put another couple of videos up, maybe just to get through the first operation, just so you can see how it pans out. But yeah, that is Close Combat Iron Cross, the remastered version of Close Combat 3, the Russian front from circa 1999. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thanks for watching. Any comments or questions, please fire them in, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. See you later.